Quentin Richardson, born April 13th, 1980. Today's feature is a guy whose name I'd always hear in the background of my basketball experience. No matter the level, somehow his name faintly rang, and as I started to pay more attention, I grew a liking for him for a lot of reasons outside of being a professional player. You could see the toughness and competitive nature on the court, the knack for knowing where the ball would be on rebounds and finding his way in the mix, the pace he played at that made you assume he's slow and not very athletic until he takes off on you and you understand. But for me, watching Quentin Richardson over the years, I appreciate the person he seems to have become, that's respectful to his parents, always gives praises to the people that helped him along his journey, and is objective when you hear him in interviews or his podcasts. A solid individual. On the court, he came a long way from milk crate hoops and summer playground ball in Chicago. He became an All-American in high school, stayed home for college when he could have went anywhere, became the freshman of the year in his conference, and yeah, he was the player of the year as a freshman as well, leading the conference in rebounding in both years. This is at 6'5", 6'6". This is in the same conference the National Player of the Year Kenyon Martin played in and wound up being the #1 pick in the NBA draft. At this moment of his journey, the NBA probably seemed the least of Quentin Richardson's worries. He became a first-round draft pick to a team in need of his skill set, yet on this new level, things didn't go as planned. Why was that? Well, only one man truly knows, but the fun thing is, we get to speculate, and as a community, see each other's thoughts and hopefully come to a conclusion on the career of one of the most popular players, if nothing, of his generation. Here are 3 reasons Quentin Richardson's growth was stunted. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Quentin Richardson was listed at 6'6", although, come on now, and played the shooting guard and small forward mainly, although he could be seen from time to time at positions 1 through 4 with his skill set. He was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, where in the midst of becoming the basketball star he became, in 1992, at 12 years old, he lost his mother to breast cancer, grandmother to natural causes, and his older brother Bernard, who was 23, to gun violence, the first of 2 brothers he'd lose to such. The fact he was even in a space mentally to become what he made of himself should be commended. He rose to prominence in the high school ranks, winning a state 2A title, made the McDonald's All-American game where he had 19 points, and eventually selected DePaul University as his college choice. What's up, guys? Become a patron now. There you can find exclusive workouts, move breakdowns, and tutorials to help your development in certain areas. Also, receive consulting each week with me where I help break down your game and build you into the player you want to become. Patreon.com/stuntedgrowth for more. Link is in the description. Enjoy the video. Stunt number 1, not leaving sooner. In rewatching the 2000 NBA draft in its entirety to my own enjoyment, Kenny Smith, who is an underrated announcer and orator in his own right, said something that I agree with 100%.
If you look at, this is a guy, if he would have came out after his freshman year, probably would have been a higher draft pick because his stock was a lot higher.
Quentin came into DePaul University and was a flat-out star out the gate. He averaged 19 points a game, along with 10.5 rebounds, earning Freshman of the Year and Player of the Year for Conference USA. Had he entered the '99 NBA draft after a year like that, with all the hype he already created for himself since high school, along with a highly successful first year in college where he was the best player in the conference, so with there being 32 teams within the NCAA, he was considered at least a top 30 player, it's very likely he could have been a lottery pick when you factor in how much human nature loves potential, youth, and star charisma, which he had all 3. In the '99 NBA draft, Wally Szczerbiak, Sean Marion, Trajan Langdon, and Corey Maggette were a few names chosen that played the same position as Richardson. Outside of Corey Maggette, who was a freshman, they were all upperclassmen. I think Richardson could have been drafted before. The reason I feel it stunted his growth is obvious, but for those that may not understand, the higher you're drafted in any draft not only means more money, which is not the point here, just a fact, but with more money comes bigger investment, comes more attention paid to said investment, comes easier road to success with road signs placed there for you to do just that. The team most likely spent days, even months factoring you into their system and plotting ways to help you succeed. The lower you're drafted, the less road signs, which means lots of adjustments to fitting with certain teams you aren't natural with, which may lead to an unlucky experience. Richardson, with a little more focus and development earlier on, could have been at least an all-star in the league. Instead, he came back for a second year where a few things were exposed and he wound up not having as good a season as his first and falling to 18th in the NBA draft. Stunt number 2, more dimensions. Or more sides to make things simpler. As a fan of the sport, and I'm sure we all have our own ways we judge the game, but when it comes to determining if a player is good or not, or will become elite at a certain level or not, I always look at his or her dimensions as an individual first. How many sides can they show a defense that'll determine how complex they are in figuring out? The Rubik's Cube. As an offensive wing player, can they score off the dribble, from 3 off the catch or on the move, from the post or driving finish, on the fast break, good placement plays, meaning you were moving so well oiled with your team that you found yourself in the right spot for an easy opportunity. D. Wade was a master of this in his LeBron Heat days. And another underrated aspect, the in-between, mid-range as they call it, game. A lot of times in basketball, we tend to lean toward the exciting dunk, sweet lay, or deep three that splashes the net, but we usually neglect the dimension right in the middle that can open up both those options at any time, and if not, leave you with a really easy shot relatively close to the rim with softer angles. Stopped on your drive to the hoop, pull up, shoot the mid. Smothered on the 3, quick drive, pull up, shoot the mid. Next time down, fake the mid pull up with a quick hezzy and get to the rim like you want it. Third time down, drive, small stop, step back for 3 now that they've given you enough space. It's a beautiful aspect of the game that isn't exciting to some, but for pure basketball lovers, there's nothing more strategic and effective as a wing player on offense. Going back to school only showed that Richardson was a 3-point shooter or driver at the rim. He'd also get his off putbacks, but at his size, I don't think they expected him to come in and rebound as prolifically as he did in college. If you look at his career overall field goal percentages mixed with 2-point field goal percentage, you can see that he wasn't very efficient over his NBA career, and a lot of that I think had to do with him not having a soft, reliable mid-range game he could use to create easier shots. Instead, his were mostly threes or drives, leaving him with limited offensive dimensions. Stunt number 3, leaving the Clippers. Many would say his lack of quick first step or streakiness or even health issues over the years could be a third growth stunt for Richardson, but I think him leaving the Clippers, who drafted him, kept him when they traded his rookie partner Darius Miles, and where he was putting down his flag finally, wasn't a good move in hindsight. Now you can say, well, the Clippers didn't make the playoffs at all in his 4 years there, so maybe he wanted to feel the stage of being in the playoffs as soon as possible. Or because the team made it known that they were in pursuit of Kobe Bryant, which would have meant not focusing on Quentin. Or because the Suns were offering the best deal at the time. Whatever it was, it began his journey across the league where teams never seemed to use him correctly, and he never had the year like he did during the 03-04 season, his final as a Clipper, where he averaged a career-high 17 points, 6 rebounds, and most importantly, played a career-high 36 minutes a game. Yeah, they were losing, but the move only amounted to 1 year and 1 playoff run with the Suns, 4 years of missing the playoffs with the Knicks, and a few quick first-round exits with the Heat and Magic. Who knows what he could have been a part of with the Clippers going forward? And I get that there's more behind the scenes, business-wise, that may have affected his decision to leave, but I think had he been able to stay longer where he was comfortable and finally playing well, he may have had a better career. All in all, I think Quentin Richardson's career was okay. No, it didn't amount to NBA stardom, but he had some amazing experiences as an amateur. Like, imagine being the man not only at your college, but where you're from. Imagine being a first-round draft pick and at some point having success in the NBA where a team wants to pay you $50 million. Yes, the expectations were for him to be a star, but for all the other important things in life that he accomplished, those will have to take a back seat. Salute to Quentin Richardson. Loved watching him play. Loved listening to his perspective on his podcast. Make sure you go ahead and check them out. It's called Knuckleheads. It's on YouTube. Much love and respect. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out. Make sure you follow me on twitch.tv/stuntedgrowthgaming if you want extra free content like me breaking down the day's highlights, moves, drafts, and past players or games upon your request. Let's chat and talk live, as it's easier to answer your questions than a place like Instagram where your messages tend to get lost. Follow me there. It's free and we can connect instantly. Join the Discord as well to chat in-game. I'll leave links to everything below.